Good afternoon, everyone. It is David Schlotthauer here, your weather enthusiast, and in this video, we are keeping an eye on a very powerful, impactful winter storm for the high plains into the Great Lakes. This is also going to be bringing the threat for severe weather for the Midwest and the Deep South, with tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail that all look possible. Now, if you're new to the YouTube channel and you really like these detailed weather videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with your family and friends on social media, and check out my Facebook weather group. There's a link in the description below this video, and you can follow me on Twitter as well. So to start things off, we're taking a look at the College of DuPage satellite imagery here, showing you the water vapor of what's going on in the atmosphere, part of this weather system that is now moving through the Four Corners region of the desert Southwest. This is going to be the same system that's going to bring a lot of impacts. So here's a look at that system right on water vapor imagery. Lots of upper level wind energy out ahead of this coming in from the southwesterly direction. Here's our surface low and upper level low pressure disturbance. This is going to be moving into the high plains by late tonight into tomorrow. And once it does, it is going to get pretty gnarly up here in portions there of the Dakotas, Nebraska, Colorado, as well as Iowa. We're talking about a lot of snowfall, strong winds, and some whiteout conditions that are all expected with this winter storm that is expected to really get going by tonight into tomorrow morning. Speaking of that, here's a look at the NAM 3-kilometer model. I always like looking at these systems very close range out when the models or when the high-res models get into better agreement, and we have pretty good agreement on this system. So we can see here, first of all, for this evening, we can see some intense snowfall that is anticipated over Denver, Colorado, right around, say, 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. If you are in Central Time, this would be still Tuesday. We got some scattered snow showers, maybe some thunder snow in the higher elevations here of, say, portions of Utah, Wyoming. If you're in western Colorado, northern portion there of Arizona, we're talking about a little bit of snowfall out of this. But it's not until we get into tomorrow early morning when the system really takes off. I mean, by about 6 to 7 in the morning on Wednesday. So when you're headed out early in the morning to go to work, to go shopping, to do anything outdoors early, it's going to be pretty stormy. We're talking about some moderate to heavy snowfall on the northern side of the system here. We're looking at that medium to dark shade of blue color that indicates heavier snowfall rates of about 3 to 6 inches an hour. To the south, we might be seeing a little bit of rain-snow mix combined with maybe some sleet and also maybe some freezing rain. And then to the south of that, we got some thunderstorms, some severe weather that is anticipated, mainly though for Wednesday afternoon, especially over this region where we are zeroing in on the pretty big threat here of tornadoes, damaging winds, and some large hail. So going forward here by about noon, if you're in Central Time here, this is where we are going to see the thunderstorms really start to erupt. We got a warm front that is draped over here. You can easily see it. And we got a cold front that is going to be draped also into eastern Texas as well as into western portion there of Arkansas. Out ahead of this, we might see prefrontal convection start to fire up in the free warm sector. As we can see here, some discrete rogue supercells that try to fire up due to instability, daytime heating. We got some forcing along that within the warm sector environment, especially over Arkansas and southern Missouri. And then, of course, to the north of it, it's not going to be much in the way of convection. It's going to be more subtle lift that is going to be overspreading the warm front and into the colder side of the system. And that's going to actually fling a lot of the snow onto the colder side of the system, and that's where we have the colder temperatures. But it's really going to be about the severe weather that is really going to be an eye-popping type event. So for St. Louis, Missouri, you can see scattered showers and thunderstorms for about 3 p.m. on Wednesday. So when thunder roars, go indoors, please, because again, a lot of activity is expected out of these storms. We can see some rotating updrafts especially if these try to get surface rooted. More likely these will be a little bit more elevated, so more of a large hail and wind threat up here further north you go. But further south, right where these systems could be, or these thunderstorms could be surface rooted to the boundary layer, we could see more significant severe weather, such as rotating storms that could produce intense damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes that are anticipated. The chances of strong tornadoes does not look to be as big as what we thought yesterday and what we thought a couple of days ago. It's going to be more likely a damaging wind and hail threat instead of a big, massive tornado threat type of event. But nevertheless, severe weather is severe weather, and you definitely need to have your severe weather radio ready to go, because there will be some active weather here to the south in the warm sector environment. Of course, the snow is going to continue over Nebraska, Iowa, southern portion of Minnesota, and South Dakota. Going to see some pretty intense banding type features associated with this. So that means moderate to heavy snowfall over a prolonged period of time is anticipated, and that's going to again lead to more severe weather here for the deep south by about 11 p.m. on Wednesday all the way into Thursday early morning. Again, part of, shear lift instability and moisture, that is all going to play a role, which we'll look at here in just a bit. But definitely a messy system that is anticipated here as far as the models go, or the high-res 3-kilometer NAM model, or which is called the North American Meso model. I believe that's what the acronym stands for. And then a little bit of lake effect snow on the back side of that. But how much snowfall are you anticipating on the National Weather Service as far as snowfall totals? Again, I want to make this as accurate, as honest as I can possible, folks, because, that's the job, right? My job is to make sure we provide you the most reliable information possible. So right now, snowfall totals look to be anywhere between 6 to 12 inches across portions there of central central Nebraska, I should say, northeastern Nebraska, southwestern Nebraska, also for northeastern Colorado, anywhere between maybe 6 to 12 inches of snow is all anticipated. More 3 to 8 inches of snow is anticipated for central and northern Iowa, as well as southwestern, Minnesota, central Wisconsin, as well as northern Michigan. 6 to maybe 8 inches of snowfall is anticipated. And the good news right now, we don't have a lot of cold air wrapping in on the backside of this, so lake effect snow with this one does not look to be a huge big concern. Instead, it's just going to be more of this whole banding type snow type deal that's going to lead to more of the more oppressive snowfall accumulations. For the higher elevations, anywhere between maybe 1 to 2 feet is possible for the Colorado Rocky Mountains there, for central Colorado, and even for portions there of the Intermountain West there of Utah, and also for Arizona. Okay, so that's a look at your snowfall total. Actually, one last look here at the NAM 3-kilometer. This is one of the more bullish forecasts. Also, it's because I'm using Katira. I'm actually going to use a 10:1 ratio just for more better accuracy here. Still looking at maybe, again, 10 to 12, maybe more like 12 to 18 inches on this particular model. It just depends on which one you're looking at. But either way, a lot of snow is going to be falling down across, especially over Nebraska. Is going to be kind of the whole big fetal ground here or ground zero of the heaviest snowfall, and maybe more heavier there for northern Michigan. It just, again, depends on which model you look at. So now we are transitioning away from the winter side of things, like the snow, the freezing rain, and sleet, and we're going to be talking about severe weather, because there's two sides to this system, folks. We got the snowy side. We also got the severe weather side of this. So again, I call these Neapolitan storms. A new word for you all that you should write down in your notebook is Neapolitan. That's because we have the cold side, we have the warm subtropical side of this, and when these two mix, you get thunderstorms and you get some heavy snowfall for the northern tier of the U.S. if temperatures are cold enough. In this case, they are. So for Wednesday afternoon here for the deep south, for the Midwest, we do got, again, lots of discrete activity here. with very strong upper level wind support. Look at this. I mean, we have 80 to 90 knot winds in the 18,000 foot level. This is 500 millibars. So again, if you're flying in an airplane, you're going to go up to 18,000 feet high, and you're going to find these winds on the NAM 3 kilometer. So very strong upper level wind support here in the free warm sector, overspreading it. And that's, again, if we get any discrete storm, they're going to rotate, and we're going to see tornado type genesis take place with these storms, along with hail and damaging winds. And long tracked rogue supercells are also a possibility, but these could grow into more clusters, into a linear line later on in the late evening, early evening type deal for Wednesday into even Thursday. Low level winds at 5,000 feet or 850 millibar winds, we can clearly see definitely some strong energetic low level jet type flow here at 5,000 feet, anywhere from Louisiana into Arkansas into Mississippi, as well as central and western Tennessee, anywhere between 40 to 60 or more like 40 to 55 knots. That's more than enough, feasible for rotating thunderstorms. More directional or more speed shear here, because the vectors are pretty much aligned. Maybe some slight veeriness between the 850 to 500 millibar layer, but either way, it's going to be very energetic. A lot of upper level support. We also got surface winds coming in out of the south. This is where we get more of our low level surface base shear. From the surface to 1 kilometer, we could be looking at a lot of intense shear. So low level vorticity, low level spin in these thunderstorms capable of tornadoes. Some of them could be brief and intense, particularly again in a narrow corridor. Where I think that's going to be is right in here is where I'm concerned about the best chances for more tornadoes. I shouldn't say strong. I'm leaning towards that kind of, but also I'm not. I want to be careful with what we predict here. But definitely tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail will be a theme with these storms for Wednesday into Thursday. Not the worst outbreak for severe weather, but it's definitely kind of getting your weather radios ready to go just in case if a tornado warning gets issued for your area. You know what I mean, right? So just take that into consideration for tomorrow. Looks to be very nasty as far as the weather goes for the deep south. That's because we have a lot of energetic CAPE here, anywhere between 500 to 1,000 joules per kilogram. That's, again, how much energy is in the atmosphere, how much gasoline for these storms to use up. And so the higher the numbers, the more fuel you have for thunderstorms, or more thunderstorm juice, we could call it. And a lot of that is going to be focused in across eastern Texas into Arkansas, mainly right along, again, this warm front and this cold front that sets up within this free warm sector. And again, elevated convection with MU CAPE that is a little higher up here in, say, central and southern Missouri. We're likely to see elevated thunderstorms that will not likely lead to tornadoes, but more of maybe some pea-size, quarter-size hail at the very most, and maybe some gusty downbursting winds of maybe like, say, 40 to 50 miles an hour or two with that. All right, when we take a look at our moisture, it's going to be rich out there. We've got a lot of moisture transport from the Gulf of Mexico here, pretty rich for storms. Definitely not a problem. However, there is a conditional limitation here. We do have some drier air here down to the south in portions of, say, Mississippi. That might keep things capped a little bit, depending on, again, how the moisture profile looks higher up, and it does look fairly dry in a way. 500 millibar, a little more moisture. 925, definitely very rich. So definitely not a horrible type contender here to preventing thunderstorms from firing up, but definitely gonna limit, at least keep things more discreet. So something that we gotta watch here closely downstream. We might again have more of a conditional tornado threat if these rogue supercells are able to develop. All right, so now dew point temperatures anywhere between the low to mid 60s. Definitely not a problem out of this. Definitely see the fetch where the warm front actually is, and that's going to lead to our STP values. Please, everyone, when you see maps like this, use with very big caution and with care, okay? I'm trying my best here to not overhype this, all right? Because some of you might see, oh, we got a Torcon of a 5. Oh, no, we got a Torcon of a 6. Oh, no, we got a Torcon of a whatever, right? we're going to be on the low end of this, and that's because, again, this can be oversampled. That's what the NAM likes to do, because again, it likes to fix and fine tune as much detail as it can, and sometimes it overdoes it a little bit. So we're looking at numbers here anywhere between about a 1 and a 2, probably less than a 2 for the most part here. So we're only looking at a low to mid-end tornado threat. We're not talking particular of strong long track tornadoes. Maybe still one strong tornado out there, maybe if the conditions are perfect. All right, we always have to have that maybe in there for a strong tornado, but right now chances are pretty low for that. We're likely to see more or higher numbers of EF0 to EF2 tornadoes, maybe EF1 at least. Then an EF2 plus looks a little less likely. EF3, EF4, and EF5 look highly unlikely, especially on the higher end of the scale. But we will see tornadoes out there across Arkansas, eastern Texas, northern Louisiana, and portions of Mississippi. And this is in pretty good agreement with the Storm Prediction Center when we take a look at their map here that we have. Again, I drew out this area pretty well, actually. I didn't do too bad, didn't I? We have a slight risk for severe weather, likely, again, driven by a 5% chance of tornadoes. Again, that gets up there into portions of southern Indiana, southern Illinois portion there. But again, that will really largely depend on how far north that warm front gets, because anything on the north side is going to be likely elevated, and we're not likely to see a lot of that surface-based convection for tornado genesis to occur. It's going to be likely further south. But either way, a 2 to 5% chance of tornadoes for central and northern Louisiana into Mississippi, Arkansas perhaps, and even into Tennessee. I'm actually surprised they actually keep this largely to the southeast into that state. I would say if they do extend it further west, it's going to be a little bit over here, perhaps, maybe into central portion of Arkansas, but right now that doesn't look to be the likelihood case at this time. But now the slight risk is driven also by wind. We're talking about some strong damaging winds with this. Going to be a big deal. And also the hail threat still remaining at 5%. That could get upgraded to a 15% if necessary, depending on how things evolve. So again, that's a look at the severe weather side of things. But now we have one more thing of this video that we do want to mention, and I don't want to forget about our viewers across the Northeast. This winter storm is also going to impact you all with moderate to heavy snowfall, maybe some ice and rain in the mix. So very wintry mess going on there for New England, also for portions of Michigan. But that's not the system, or not the only system that you're going to be concerned about. The snow does continue, by the way, into Friday and Saturday, so keep that in mind. If you're doing anything outdoors, it can be a little slippery at times. And then the next system develops here by day 5. All right, this is another system that I'm really concerned about, because the GFS and the European are disagreeing a little bit. Whichever one is correct, we're still looking at a secondary winter storm that could develop by the end of this coming work week into the following week, perhaps. All right, January 22nd and the 23rd time frame, and this could be very big. Perhaps by January 23rd and the 24th, we could be looking at another nor'easter. Yes, another nor'easter for Pennsylvania, for New York, for Vermont, for New Hampshire, for Maine. Strong winds that could be damaging and destructive. This could be a very big system, folks. Nothing to mess with at all with those winds that also look to be quite strong. So another winter storm could be in the making there on the European model, but the GFS, if we go and take a look at that very quickly here, we can see it's a little further to the north as far as that snowfall goes. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video so much. If you did, please consider subscribing. It really helps out a lot. And please share this with your family and friends on social media, because we are going to keep you updated on this winter storm. Now, unfortunately, due to the fact that I won't be available tomorrow because I have school, again, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I probably won't end up able to live stream on the severe weather. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. It does not look as bad as what we had recently, because that was really bad in itself with the Selma tornado in Alabama. Hopefully this is more of a lower end threat than a higher end one, but either way, Please stay up to date on my YouTube channel, as I will try to have a video update in the morning on this, as well as more snowstorms coming. All right, share, like, and subscribe, and I'll be back with you more very soon with more weather content.